And take a ride on my ass.
Last session with the Whims of Fate, we continued our library explorations, uh, focusing on Brina and Idea. Uh, Brina quickly figuring out how the library works, though not finding, well, finding plenty of stories, just not any of Taliesin, until she was redirected to the music section, where she found
But an
some
incompetent librarian.
yeah, where she found songs on various people, including Erden.
And you never did send me those.
I didn't have time to write anything.
That's perfectly fine. I just, because you didn't send me anything, I probably won't go into that.
That's fair.
Because I'd rather know what they say before mentioning them.
Yeah, no, you're good. And honestly, I probably won't get to them until next week when I'm off from the jobs.
That's perfectly fine. Sorry, Arthur, I believe I interrupted your recap. My apologies.
Idea got her mind fixed and had.
Yay!
Well, theoretically fixed. Well, her mind, yes. Magic, that's still in the theoretical department. And it was determined that it is canonical that Idea killed Hephaestus. Erden
Still clinging.
Erden had a talk about anatomy with a golem, and Rada continued being lost, both physically and spiritually. Though she had a conversation with the Dagda. And this week, I suppose we continue our little adventures.
Indeed. Tooth, what you up to?
Oh no.
Like stereo surround her laugh.
What'd you say, Jen?
I just got stereo surround sound of her laugh because it came in through my door before it came over the speaker.
Oh god.
She's wandering around,
Another bag.
just
Would you like to hear the numbers?
looking at books,
Uh-huh.
looking at different magic books that catch his eye.
I wanted two, so throw it in there.
And he's searching through them, and anything that kind of catches his eye, he's jotting down some stuff in a notebook.
Okay. Tooth, can you give me a perception check?
I sure can.
That is a terrible idea. The camera off of the dice.
I was gonna say, sorry, did I put the dice in the back?
No. Just trying to tweak the camera. From over there, so it's okay.
13.
Is that Erden trying to get into the restricted section? I'm not having much luck. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm gonna go over. Hey, Erden, what you doing?
Well, this part's already technically passed, so.
Oh yeah.
You could definitely listen in if you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Sounds like he's trying to figure out a spell. I can't remember if we said out loud. You said out loud what you were trying to do specifically, or just trying to figure out the spell.
Hi, I believe this is a wish spell, and I was wondering if I could compare it to an actual one to translate this.
That's what I thought. So he's trying to figure out a wish spell. Tooth, can you give me a knowledge?
Whatever
I'm
it
gonna-
is, it's nat 20.
Okay, I was to say knowledge local, because this is very much a fae thing for your particular type of fae. You've heard of wish spells? They're part of your like lore. Like fairies will grant wishes to humans all the time, and usually it starts out really great, and then the fairies are like, sucker, you're mine now. That kind of thing usually.
Mm-hmm.
But you are aware that this is some very, very powerful magic, and that wish spells themselves, like the actual wish spells, are usually used in like heroes quests type situations, and that you're usually looking for like the benevolent wizard to give you the wish spell kind of thing. Now you know that it's usually not a wizard per se, but like a powerful being that gives you a wish spell.
Airden's plot armor is now not only known among the party, but also canonical.
I was thinking, honestly.
I mean, to be fair, if you think about it, I think they based it off of like fairy tales and like the godmother, the fairy godmother, like that type of thing. I wish I could go to the ball. Surprise, you can. You had a fairy godmother this whole time. My question is, why doesn't anybody ever tell any of these people that they have a fairy godmother?
Or why doesn't the fairy godmother do something to fix the situation that they're in the first place?
Yeah, right. Like the Fairly Odd Parents, who are actually trying to fix the situation.
Yeah,
To be fair, isn't part of the stipulation there that they can't fix it?
probably.
Kind of indirectly, but
Anyway, so yeah, that's so it's intriguing that he has one.
A wish or a fairy
Oh,
godparent?
yeah. Both. Usually the fairy godparents are, they're saved for humans, not half humans. But hey, maybe half a human needs one too.
Apparently.
It's for the human half, though.
Yeah, the elf half can't ask for help.
Frankly,
I mean, if
look at
any half human
like
could make a
three-quarters
case for needing a fairy godparent, have you seen how many scars Airden has?
Actually, no. This is proof that he had the fairy godparent. He's still alive with all those.
No, that you see, that leg is part of his elven half.
Yeah, but what if his fairy godparent was Taliesin?
He killed him. He let him die.
Are you
We're
gonna
all
laugh?
thinking how awesome that would be, and Tooth decided to remind us that, yeah, that actually happened.
Technically,
Patricide.
both those sentences are correct.
Yeah, technically both of these sentences are correct.
You killed him. All I can think is Santa Claus. You killed him. He's off the roof. You killed him. Anyway, so there's that.
At
While
least
you're walking.
Taliesin was asking for it, and not in a bad way. Don't think on this too much.
I don't know. So as you're thinking about this, he does, kind of give up because this librarian is being very stern with him about needing a permission slip to get in there. And eventually he'll just turn and walk away.
What's that?
So sad. So, food for thought. What next?
Tooth wants to break into the restricted section now.
I
Hey,
feel like that is almost a given.
yeah.
I was just
Kick
waiting
out of this
for it.
library, Tooth.
If anybody
need-
asks, we don't know him.
I need a stealth check.
Faisal.
Yeah.
Thank you for knowing what I was thinking.
Fievel?
Faisal.
Oh,
So, okay. Faisal is a friend of Dominic and his dad's that they play Magic with. But when they fly to tournaments, they don't know Faisal. 'Cause he's
21.
And he has the name to go with it. Like, he doesn't look crazy Middle Eastern, but his brother's name is Alex. And he has no issues. But Faisal, constant issues. Although, hilariously enough, the one time that I have actually flown with him was the one time he has ever not been pulled aside by security for additional screening. So, we didn't know who Faisal was, and for once, Faisal wasn't getting into trouble.
oh man. You managed to sneak past the librarian. She's focused on watching Erden walk away. And you're so tiny that she's not thinking to look down at her feet. So you get into the restricted section.
Excellent.
So I guess if you want to do an investigate to see what's in there.
Yeah.
It's either going to go really well or really poorly.
What about a little bit of both? That could be highly entertaining, even if it would be highly chaotic and dangerous.
That would be a 15.
As you're going through, because of okay. So now that you've done that, hold on. I want you to give me an Arcana check as well.
Okay.
To see if you recognize what it is you're looking at. You're definitely gonna find stuff. It's just, do you know what it is?
Arcana is also a 15.
Yeah, yeah. These are some incredibly high-powered spells. Like, if you're not prepared for these spells, you will die trying to cast them. Because you don't have the energy for it.
Meteor is somewhere in this room. I know it.
Uh-huh. Meteor is in this room. Final Fantasy reference.
Meteor shower. So yeah. You're gonna see
I'm pulling my book right now just to see some 9th level spells.
you're gonna see things like not that one. Sorry, that one is specific to Emrys, not you see things like power word kill, psychic scream.
Our word kill definitely is like the hallmark spell that belongs in the restricted section of the library.
It's also necromantic.
Wish you have to be creative. Power word kill is very straightforward.
Right. You see things like invulnerability.
Excuse me.
You're not excused. Hey, look, wish spells.
Yay!
Something
this is more
called
power than Tooth ever should have had the ability to try and claim.
Storm of Vengeance.
He does have the bag. That's a good point.
In general, dear.
Void. Power word heal. Meteor swarm.
Hey!
Steal.
Oh.
I was about to be like, power word heal in the restricted section is interesting, and then I was like, oh, I mean, it might not be what D&D power word heal does, but I mean, taken to an extreme, you get Jack Harkness, so sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you don't know how to do it correctly, you use all of your life force and give it to somebody else, and then you end up dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
So that's obviously going to be a Chekhov's gun, right?
Um, things like true polymorph. So some really powerful stuff in here. Things that you've only heard of and not necessarily seen used.
At least he's not a magic user.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tooth
Don't
knows his
over.
limits, and he's just gonna check out the wish spells.
Okay. So you're gonna actually look at one?
He's gonna check for traps first, Pookie.
Okay, Pookie, check for traps.
Gotta make sure that it doesn't, scream at him.
Wow,
Alarming the restricted section of the library does seem smart.
well, remember, Harry Potter didn't check for traps.
Harry Potter does.
He's gonna say
Philosopher's Stone.
he's a rogue, so you should have trap sense.
Yeah.
Our sense of thing.
3.5.
I believe so. Oh, it might be a 3.5 thing. No, 5e. It might be a spell. Only in 5e.
I know there's fine traps.
Yeah, that is a spell. I think I'm thinking 3.5. Because it is something that rogues used to have. So give me a... hang on. Let's figure out what I guess use another investigation. That's the closest thing.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say do it at advantage because you're rogue and that's your thing. And it seems weird that that's been denied to you.
$23.
You do not find any traps.
Okay.
That feel like a trap, that there are no traps.
Which is fair. He assumes everything's a trap. Partially because he's rogue, partially because he's a leprechaun.
Did Tooth get caught in one of those little leprechaun traps that the kids make in elementary school when he was little? Does he have PTSD from that?
It wasn't, the kid's fault he got stuck in it. That damn cousin of his. Kind of an arse.
Fair enough.
Okay, sorry.
So he's not finding any traps, so he's going to take the book and book. He is gonna in hushed tones.
These are
okay, book. I'm taking you off the shelf and look at you. Okay. What?
Not books, they're scrolls.
Scroll. Sorry, I got stuck on Harry Potter.
Okay, so you're telling the scroll that you're just looking at it.
Mhm.
The scroll does not respond. All right. So when you get this scroll in your hand, though, you can feel the power emanating in it. It's kind of tingly. And you open it up. Give me a second. High or low?
Hi.
And you can't read it. It's not in the language you know.
Okay.
You're like, oh, squiggles. Okay. Cool. Don't know what that means.
It'd be really funny if it was in Oceanic. It'd be really funny if it was in a language that I could actually read.
You said squiggles, and for some reason I thought about like Arabian text.
Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that.
Or like the Philippines.
Which is very pretty, but if you had never been exposed to Arabian text before, I could see how you just thought it was really fancy squiggles.
Yeah.
I have an Arabic Book of Mormon on my shelf right now.
Oh, that's cool. Can I see it?
I was gonna say it's interesting. Their script.
Just for kicks and giggles, Mary, high or low?
Low.
It is in Oceania.
It's like one of the few oceanic things in the entire freaking library.
Well, Tooth can't read it. Tooth knows that there's a lot of smart people in his party, so he's gonna jot down some of it. Not all of it, just some of it.
Okay.
I bet this is gonna be really swiggly, and it's gonna be like, Tooth, what were you doing?
Copy a language you don't know. It's okay if it's in the same script, but I bet Oceanic is not in the same script as Celtic or Fey.
Nope.
Imagine trying to copy like Arabic or Russian text when you don't know any of those languages.
Yeah, no, I'm just imagining.
Or Chinese. That would be. Or Japanese. Those would be even worse.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll do this too.
So yeah, he's gonna jot down some of it. You know, he can't read it. He doesn't know where it starts, where it ends. You know, type dealio thing. But he's gonna write down what he thinks is the title of the spell. You know. And then write down some other stuff from it and be like, well, I tried. And then once he's done with that, he'll make his way out, you know, checking his surroundings, and
he's just checking one spell. He's not even gonna see if any of them are. That's so funny. Okay.
Are there
Cool.
like several copies of the same spells just on the shelves?
Well, you gotta have them in the language you can read.
yeah, that's true. There are others. But he also doesn't want to spend too long in there, you know, because he doesn't want to get
the restricted section.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
That's really cool.
16.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So what you doing?
Huh?
What you doing?
I guess he'll check one other scroll before he decides to leave for safety reasons.
Okay, high or low?
Hi.
Okay. I got a high or low from Arthur.
Low.
Okay. And that'll be it. No. Yeah. And a high or low from Dominic.
High.
Excellent. Thank you all for participating. Okay, so you open this scroll up, Tooth. You cannot read this one either. However, you do recognize this as something that you believe one of your other people in your group knows. You're pretty sure, like you're pretty sure, like 67% sure that it might be Latin. But you can't read Latin, so you're like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this written down, and I know people speak this, but I don't.
Nope. So he'll take a little note of this one too.
Just part of it or all of it?
I'm gonna say he does all of it, but he's gonna do it really, really fast, so it's gonna kind of be, you know how like my handwriting gets when I write fast.
Yes, I do.
It's gonna be like that.
Gods have mercy on whoever tries to read this.
Read that.
Hey, let's just have another person that writes badly read it.
The tongue's on sabbatical.
Can you comprehend languages if the language was written by somebody who didn't understand it when they wrote it?
That's an excellent.
Depends on how good they are at copying.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I imagine it requires the person trying to read it to comprehend that it is in fact a language that they are trying to read.
As you are finishing it up, you hear, "Hey, what are you doing back here?"
Oh,
You know,
just
I was
testing
gonna
my skills on sneaking.
you do look up and see what appears to be a half man, half goat, wearing a badge of some sort and looking very cross. It seems you may have triggered the security system.
You assume so. You may escort me out.
This is more than an escorting out. What were you doing? Did you illegally copy something?
I made a mental note.
I saw the writing utensil in the paper. What did you do with them?
I was writing down that I don't know language.
Hand
That
it
I need to
over,
write things in language.
or you'll be arrested. Also, I need like bluff checks. You are definitely blatantly lying.
$17.
And Tooth outsmart justice. A zealous paladin would think that is a foolish question to even ask.
There's a moment's hesitation, but he's like, hand it over or I will arrest you.
Okay. He hands over and no.
Okay. A notebook. I'm gonna need another bluff.
Same as last time, a 17.
Mhm. He's like flipping through it. There's nothing written in here.
Yep.
I saw you writing. What were you writing on? Clearly wasn't
Whatever. Sir, I don't know what you saw. This was the notebook I've had.
What if he gets kicked out of the Life of Alexandria? I'm never forgiving him.
Sir, my rogue. You think I wrote it in plain sight?
I mean, you can have the notebook, and I will leave the library.
It's invisible ink.
Okay, this is gonna be not a bluff. The other charisma one. What is it?
Deception?
Persuasion.
Persuasion. Thank you. Oh, my eyes itch.
18.
He's kind of looking at you. He's gonna put the notebook in his bag. You're coming to the security office with me.
Okay.
The best part is, okay, as he's leading you out, I want you to give me one last perception. Tooth.
Uh-huh. That would be 18.
You're pretty sure as you're being led out, you see Erden in the necromancy section.
Okay.
Dude's weird, man. No.
Mhm.
All right. He's going to lead you to not towards the stairs, but to a back corner where there's a set of doors.
Mhm.
He presses his hand up on a hieroglyph, and the doors open, and there's just this little room in there. And he leads you inside. Then he puts his hand on another hieroglyph, and you feel the room jerk with a motion that felt very much like it was going down.
Cool.
In elevators.
And you're in there for a moment, a long moment, a really long moment, a really, really long moment. Until finally the doors open again, and he leads you out into what looks like an underground hallway. And he's leading you down this hallway to, there's a desk, and there's another one of these weird half man, half animal things, but this time the person's got like a hippopotamus for a head. Except you don't know what a hippopotamus is, so it's just this big gray thing with a human body. And they look kind of over, and then when they speak, they have the highest, most feminine voice you've ever heard. And she's just like, what do we have now? Another violation? Found him in the restricted section. I'm going to scan this notebook and make sure he wasn't using invisible ink or a magic spell to make it invisible. Right. All right. You with me. And she'll kind of roughly grab you, Tooth, and lead you to a cell where she will open it up and set you inside and then lock it behind you.
Cool.
And it's not like bars. It's like it's not metal. It looks like it's made out of like sandstone or limestone or something, but it's got like the little holes at the top, like a window. Definitely above where you can reach, because it's for like normal sized people. But you are now in a cell in the basement of the Library of Alexandria. They are scanning your notebook for nefarious deeds.
Cool.
So that's what's been happening to you while Rada's been getting lost and Brina's been reading. Anyday has been getting fixed, and Ernan's going through his mile-long list. To give you guys some introspect, this is my writing. It is small, and I wrote it in cursive. So that's kind of what you scribbled. Is it legible? Probably not to anybody else. We'll see.
From the looks of it, I think in time and not over a computer screen, I might be able to get it. But it would probably take me a bit of time, and I would probably end up with a headache.
Let the person who has proficiency into CipherScript at it.
All right. Now that we've gotten through that portion of Tooth, who wants to go next?
Have ideas for Adea.
Okay.
So last we left Adea was collecting books to study to figure out a new form of magic.
Okay.
So we were going to find earth magic books and books on magic items. I don't know if there's a section on creation magic, but that could be interesting. And while it is not the primary search of this focus, maybe a book or two on combat-oriented magic. Probably, in the case of either trying to modify somebody's combat abilities with magic or to turn, magic into a weapon or magic into weapons.
Okay.
So Adea is going to be collecting books to study with about the same thought and importance as, like, you've ever seen Megamind, the bit where Metro Man is like going through the library, reading all the self-help books, trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. Adea's trying to do that, but for her magic, so.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also said I'm gonna head to bed now. I am fighting a headache.
Gotcha.
So
We'll be ready
Jennifer
to
knew
go
about
away.
this beforehand. So, good night, y'all.
Night.
Good night.
That's been why I started with Tooth. It's like, what shenanigans is Tooth getting up to? So we haven't talked about it in a while. And she was,
Getting thrown into jail at the Library of Alexandria.
of course. Her cousin was
Yes,
so
you did.
proud.
To get out of this one.
You're relaying all of these stories of Tooth to your cousin who originally started the character.
Yeah, it's been very fun. All right, so, yeah, you're able to find all kinds of stuff on all of these. Basically, what you can gather as you look, there's not just scrolls on, like, that are full of, like, magic spells, but there's actually some books that explain how that type of magic works. So that, before you start going through and seeing, like, what spells you like, you can see, is this even, like, a possibility? Or is this thinking on my part, that kind of thing.
That's probably smart because we've already learned that, while we could go pick up religion books, it probably isn't going to combine as well as it could. So we're not going to do that. And knowing other pitfalls that we could fall into in attempting to create a new magical style, if you will, would be useful.
Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is give me 4 just straight intelligence checks, because it's basically just how much are you picking up from what you're reading and retaining. Because we all know that, we've all been in college. Sometimes you just skim the textbook and then you're like, oh, what did I just read? I wasn't actually paying attention like I thought I was.
Heck, that happens even when I'm reading something that's
It's so sad.
skimming.
I only rolled 3 of the 4 because I didn't have a 4th metal dice, but let's see here. We got a are they intellect knowledge checks?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I get to add 5 to all of these terrible, well, mostly terrible rolls. The 3 becomes an 8. The 6 becomes an 11. 19 becomes a 24. And for the 4th one, another 3. It becomes an 8.
They should have that one really good high with the 19.
We'll get high rolls again someday. But not in the library, apparently.
Apparently the girls are just having a hard time with the library.
Except for Brina. Brina rocks at this. she's saving me, guys.
Maybe this is the kind of roles that got Metro Man to believe that he should become Music Man and it's his true calling.
People, please. I struggle enough as a bard as is with Airden stealing every show with his banjo.
Because of all of the choices to make to what to do with your life when you are the hero that he was, these seem like the sorts of roles that would get you to the questionable decision that he did, considering his musical talents.
Music man.
So
The 19's for keeping the logo.
the first thing you look up is the combat magic. And you pick up you find a lot of the same stuff you already are aware of, like depending on the type of combat training that you've had or that you might be involved in, depending on culture and all of that, can vary on the types of weapons that would be useful with magic. You're well aware that certain types of metal are really good for putting magic on, and some are really, really good at preventing magic from working at all. And then it seems a lot of combat magic has to do with counterspelling, essentially. It's like, do I want to make my magic really powerful, or do I want to make somebody else's really suck? Some
hurricane magic is but a light breeze, in my opinion.
So, like,
just to fall apart.
Oh, that's the best.
I just want to make sure.
The good news is that my racial traits already tell you what my primary exposures to weapon training were.
So
they give me express proficiencies.
Yeah. So basically, you're getting the same sort of things that you would get from the island where you grew up, where it's like, if you want to be a magical combatant, make sure you have a bronze sword, because that's going to conduct your magic really, really well and make it really powerful. And that perhaps you'd want something like, strangely enough, silver put into like your shield so that it reflects magic back on the people who sent it to you. It sort of acts like both a conductor and a repellent, just because it's got these weird properties. And the iron is the best thing to use to like absorb somebody's magic. So a lot of people will make their armor out of iron because it absorbs the magic. You also know that if it absorbs it, you can probably pull it out if you have the right tools. So, say somebody you know gets hit with a magic spell, doesn't seem to do anything because their armor sucked it up. Later on, you could probably pull it out and stick it into something else. Which may or may not have been something Edic would have been aware of. That is something in the books. So that's what you get from that. From earth magic, you find that you have to be pretty strong-willed to use it. If you're kind of wishy-washy in your personality, it's not going to cooperate with you quite as well.
Well, this is good news for a day.
I was going to say, if you're if you're someone like Tooth who's kind of it's not going to work well for you. But if you know exactly what you want and where you stand and what you need from it, it's going to come pretty easily to you. And earth magic does combat air magic pretty thoroughly. So it talks a little bit about how those who are proficient in earth magic are usually pretty good at repelling like air elementals or things that fly, that sort of thing. So the sort of opposite elemental thing. Holy crap, do you gain a lot of information on the magic items, though, with that floor. So, just like with the weapons, certain items are going to be easier to suck in the magic and hold it, and others are going to kind of fight it and not want the magic in there. And it won't hold on to it, it'll just kind of let it flow out. So, a lot of magic items will be made out of, like, alloys, so that it's something you can trap, but also something you can release. Because let's say you make it out of, like, you make, like, an iron amulet, it's going to suck it in, but there's going to be no way to activate it. You'll have to physically pull it back out. And that's, like, a lot of extra work. You don't want to do that.
Some things are megaphones, some things are locked strong boxes, and some things are broken bottles.
Basically. And so the alloys will be your best bet for making things, which is why there are so many statues made out of things like, I don't know, bronze and brass and steel. You know? Lots of different types of alloys to allow things to be put in and taken out as needed. A lot of the repelling charms are made not of metals, but out of gemstones. Because apparently certain elements within certain gemstones are really good at certain types of magic. So, for example, things like, give me a second, I want to make sure. Things like bauxite or certain types of feldspars are actually really good at holding on to spells and releasing them because it has an element called aluminum in it. And aluminum is one of those weird things that couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a metal. And so sometimes it acts like a metal and sometimes it doesn't. And so sometimes it's really good at like conducting things and sometimes it's really good at isolating them. So it's really good at holding on to things and letting them go kind of as you want. So lots of things are made out of like aluminum minerals.
Computers are just powered by magic, clearly, with all that silicon.
If you are good at earth magic, heck yes, those gemstones are all going to work for you if they're silicates. You can get those silicates to do whatever you want if you're really good at earth magic. Huh?
Dan invents the first computer. Wait a minute. Did we just make our world Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
No.
Nobody could figure out what that crazy artifact that they found in the ocean that was definitely an old computer was. Or who made it.
The Antikythera mechanism?
Yes.
Yes. Dan made the Antikythera mechanism. That I can see. I love that.
How old is it, though?
I think it should already be in the ocean by now.
It should be, but
It's probably in the ocean by now.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Other things to note with your magic items is that if your magic items are made of like multiple types of things, you can stash magic in different parts of the magic items if you're good enough at creating them. So let's say you have like a ruby that's held in a gold chain. You can do something with the gold and something with the ruby. You read up that certain unstable elements are really useful for creating wild magic effects.
I've seen this one before.
Turns out that the weird colors that you're seeing in some of those wild magic like rocks is something called radioactivity.
Oh man. I've been secretly giving us all radiation poisoning for the last 3 months.
And whoever's working in the Bank of Hades.
Don't worry about it. You've been the one who's been handling it most, so at least your hands are definitely irradiated.
Look at it this way. You're not getting cancer anytime soon.
But you will eventually.
Is radiation also a good way to get cancer? It goes both ways.
It does if there's too much. But the thing is you weren't like eating it or like, it wasn't constantly touching a part of your skin or you had it in something. So.
Wearing it yet?
You haven't become Yuri Curie yet.
Yeah.
Daya's jaw's gonna fall off.
Those were the radium girls. As long as you're not eating radium, you're fine.
And not all forms of radioactivity are dangerous. Like
I've been cooking my hands.
Look at it this way. It wasn't glowing blue, so we know it wasn't radium.
Or thorium.
It also
or
wasn't yellow, so it's uranium.
Wait, what was that, Jen?
Said it also wasn't yellow, so it's not uranium.
I mean, I suppose it could have been radioactive carbon, which is pretty harmless.
Pink. What color does the pink associate with?
Also, should anybody be worried about what happens when we have radioactive necromancy? Just saying.
I mean,
let's say technetium and call it a day.
I mean, we can empower Erden's smites with healing magic, and he can give people cancer.
Still can't wait for cancer smite.
No, nothing actually. So nothing usually glows pink. It's blue or green is what radioactive elements usually glow at. So that means I get to make up whatever it is.
Unobtainium.
I will say that it is going to be a harmless type of radiation. Unless you're expecting it to. That's why the magic is like wonky, because it's unstable and it has an unstable magnetic field, because all rocks have a magnetic field of their own. But because everything about this is unstable, it's just like, and magic. And you're like, what's happening? Because that's how it's releasing energy.
It's pink because it's unstable.
Yep. That's what color the magnetic field glows. Haven't you noticed? I mean, red.
Yes, it's definitely.
Oh,
You can't get those colors from the aurora borealis. It's not the most common color.
It's usually green, but if you get the higher UV, you do get the red, which can sometimes look pinkish. Anyway, so yeah, radioactive elements make for some interesting spells. If you can find a way to stabilize it, they're pretty damn powerful. But finding a way to stabilize these radioactive elements is difficult.
Always bury them in the ground for thousands of years.
Depends on what their half-life is. After all, uranium's half-life is
the age of the Earth, isn't it?
Yeah. It's only 4.5 billion years. It's fine. Come back in 4.5 billion years and you'll have half as much.
It'll be half as unstable. Half of it will be turned to lead.
Erden will still be alive. You can have him check on it.
Absolutely.
Of plot armor.
That's not just plot armor, that's immortality.
Yeah.
Have you seen the 20th level Oath of Ancients ability?
Actually, it's the level 16th.
It's still an Oath of Ancients thing.
What makes me think of is like, with Idea working on that necklace, if we do any more time skipping into the future, please don't tell me that she's going to be on the Manhattan Project.
I know we're all going to be on the Manhattan Project.
You are the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, we're all vacationing in Nagasaki at that time.
You're the morale.
Oh, I just get to pump everybody.
With our luck, we become one of those double survivors.
Especially with our
you learned a lot about how some magic comes from certain kinds of reactions if you mix certain types of liquids and powders together. Sometimes they'll make new gases, or they'll make new liquids, or even new solids that can be used for other things, and they're super cool. But you have to be careful how much you add of each thing, because if you add too much of one or the other, you might neutralize the other one.
Yay, chemistry.
And I will say, like, you spend a lot of time on the magic items because there's so much, and it's getting so exciting because you're learning about all of these new ways to make things, like even just like new alloys that you could potentially make. these acids and bases that you're reading about can be added to some weapons. Or you can make, like, little handheld bombs and things like that. Not that you know what the word bomb is, but, you know, you put in a
The
little
dad
thing.
throws a grenade. Everybody, what the heck is that thing? You're supposed to get down. I don't know what it is. Get down.
Ernest able to see through the fireball and tell you exactly what happened.
Then you get to the creation magic, and you didn't quite realize just how broad a topic that is. Because there's lots of different things that could be created. You see things like you can create earth, and create water, and create air, and create potions, and create food, and all of this stuff, and it's like, whoa.
The only
This is
common theme is
a
that the number 42 is strangely important.
You make 42 pounds, that's it. No
Nobody
more, no
knows
less.
why.
It's the answer to your life, the universe, and everything, don't you know?
I don't think anybody knows yet.
Nope. The doctor does.
I really like molybdenum.
Molybdenum?
Yeah.
Molybdenum is fun, yes.
It's also element number 42. Like,
Love that you look that up. Molybdenum's the most powerfully magical substance out there. Not for any real scientific reason, just because it's got 42 protons. That's it.
Well, we know the answer,
But
but do we know the
technically-
question?
See, that's what we don't know yet.
I mean, it is a transition metal, for whatever that's worth.
So it also can't decide what it is. It just wants to be everything. So I think technically the most powerful magical number is 7, which is nitrogen, I believe.
The one that doesn't do anything.
Hey, nitrogen is super important if you're a biologist, apparently. It's in, like, everything.
As a waste product.
It's in a lot of proteins, apparently. I don't know. Obviously, as a geologist, nitrogen's not terribly important to me. Hey, you could do lots with ammonia. Just don't drink it.
So if 6
Yeah.
is just the shortcut of 7 and 7's the most powerful number, does that mean we shouldn't trust carbon?
well, of course not. It makes up everything.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. That's the information you're gathering from these main overarching books before you even look at any spells.
Very exciting. Do any of these books suggest common practitioners of the of these styles of magic, or like people or spells that commonly fall into that type of magic?
So with the combat magic, primarily it seems to focus on paladins. Primarily because these are people who chose to be fighters, and then they were like, hey, I'm going to worship this god, and the god's like, here, have some magic. You're so good at the fighting thing, I'm just going to make you a little bit better. But everybody really can use the combat magic. It's not like it's specified to anyone, like they're the only ones who can do it or anything like that.
Poor gods
Like-
don't tend to be stingy about this stuff.
No. The earth magic does seem to be heavily focused on druids, but they're not the only ones who can use it. It does mention that people who worship earth deities do it, and that alchemists will utilize it quite often. Magic items is definitely like, this is an alchemist thing. Like, they're the ones who invented this. They're the ones who are like showing other people how to do it. Other types of magic users can make magic items, but those who are most proficient are the alchemists. And then creation magic does seem to be heavily either you follow a deity or you're an alchemist, because they're big on creating things.
Being a common theme here. Two of them, but we're ignoring one of them. Deity is an alchemist, and one of these we've already been told is a bad idea.
Stop! This is a very bad idea.
And I will say that with the creation magic, they do heavily lean towards the cleric. But again, lots of people can do it. It's just not their main strategy.
Mhm.
Honestly, see Dale like at this table with piles of books, like haphazardly open around her, as she's just gathering all this information.
Sounds like I should be researching alchemical spells. If there is such a thing.
You're an alchemist today.
That's Hagrid right there. You're an alchemist, dude. You're...
I'm a what? An alchemist.
There is in fact a section on alchemical magic.
We're gonna learn some good stuff, like how permanent alchemical magic is.
Oh, you're gonna love that. So go ahead, as you're going through that section and looking through things and kind of checking it out, give me another intelligence, knowledge, your intellect. See what you pick up this time as you're...
Do I give one of the performers a try, or do I rely on the one that gave me the 19?
Do you think you're
Do I
Is
give
that
him a second
real
chance?
question?
Yes, it is a question.
The rest of the party says rely on the one that's given good results. Okay. That's a 15. And if it's knowledge, another 5 on top of that for my int.
Nice.
20.
So it looks like with alchemical magic, depending on how much practice you've had and how good you are at what you do will determine how permanent your spells are. Like, some of the best alchemists out there can make their spells completely permanent and undoable except by them.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Like, basically, the more you do it, the better you get, the stronger the spells get, the harder it is to undo them.
Legends are made. Exactly.
I'd like to introduce you to Archimedes.
Probably read his writings. Not too
Yeah.
much issue.
I mean, all of the stuff you're reading may be based off of his works. I mean,
Archimedes
crazy.
heads off.
Like, we're still using the Archimedes screw in modern day, so this makes perfect sense.
Well, I was gonna say, and a lot of the because so much of this is like Earth-based, like magic. Because I'm a geologist and I like my rocks. I mean, I bet you most of the writings that they get are from Pliny the Elder on that type of stuff. Everything's based off of his work.
Pliny the Elder.
Heard that name somewhere before.
He was a Roman citizen who wrote. He was basically the one who first started grouping things together by their similarities.
Well, yeah,
More or less
early
wrote the first
biological
encyclopedia.
efforts.
Yeah, he wrote the first encyclopedia, and then he promptly died in Pompeii in 79 AD. And so his son had to finish his work for him.
And he was trying but
That
he
was
was
his
at least
nephew.
trying to save other people, so like he died a very heroic death.
He did. He was a very good person.
That's awesome.
Which honestly, for that's a pretty cool thing to be able to say about somebody that prominent in history, was that they were a pretty good person. But sadly, that did not always go hand in hand.
No.
Heck, it doesn't even go hand in hand now, but
It's true. Especially in Roman society, they were very self-serving.
oh yeah.
I mean, have you seen the way that they do curses? It's usually a exchange between a deity and the person that's asking for the curse. Like, if you do this thing, I will do this.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I forgot what I was saying.
You were talking about
Oh,
most of what he's studying is based on Archimedes.
yes. So yeah, that's what you're finding with that. Anything else from there?
Nothing else in character comes to mind. We might have some mechanical discussions to have, but that seems like a good start for the in character.
Okay. Who'd like to go next?
Not me, but honestly, I don't know if I want to go. I don't want Brina to go at all necessarily until I can get that information from you, because I think that will actually affect where
What
I
you-
go from there. So
Okay.
I don't put me on the billet for tonight, basically.
Okay.
I'm
I can.
curiously just reading through these scrolls of Taliesin's that I've found covering people that I actually have met.
Okay. I'm going to fold this page down so I remember to do it.
Okay.
I guess since Erden has illicit smile along and mine is far shorter, I can go.
All right. Did you? Oh yes. So you are now on the second floor,
In the East Wing.
and everything is basically broken up by, like each country's military methods.
Well, she knows that Rome was very good at what they did. She's going to start
Mhm.
with them.
Okay.
She's also going to remember that their military up to a certain point was professional soldiers, and what we're going to be working with in Britannia is more not professional soldiery.
Yeah. So give me an investigation as you're trying to find.
I had that one good roll.
Huh?
I guess you just have performance anxiety. That's an 8.
Okay. Only 2 things really pop up as you're looking through. One of the reasons they were so successful is they have these tall tower shields that they could lock together to protect everybody. It's pretty effective. You would move as a wall. It's pretty terrifying to see this wall coming at you. Pretty easy to scatter people with it. The other thing they seem to do is when they didn't want to fight, they'd build a wall out of the earth and then just say, okay, we're done, and leave. Which they seem to have done twice in Britain or in Albion. Particularly
Adrian's Wall.
Hadrian and Antoine.
Antonine. The Antonine Wall.
The Antonine Wall.
Yeah, I
was
was
like,
say,
oh,
there's 2 of them.
Yep. Hadrian's is just the more famous one.
Mm-hmm. I still just love that concept, though. It's like, oh, look, it's the Picts. Nope. Put up a wall.
They're running at me naked and blue, and I don't like it. Build a wall. There, done. Not my problem.
Sticking with what she knows, she's then going to look at what the Greeks wrote.
Okay.
Actually, no, Sparta might not be a bad one to look at. I mean, they may not have written anything down, but they had pretty good soldiers in the Greek world.
Okay. Okay, give me another investigate for your Greek one.
And her hangover continues with a worse roll.
They seem to have been really brutal. They'd had something called Pankration, which seemed to be a combination of boxing and wrestling that they used as the core of their fighting style. You're not entirely sure how effective that would be with a bunch of country folk, but maybe they're okay with just trying to punch someone out when they're wearing an iron helmet. You don't know. I don't think it's going to be effective against the Roman fighting style, which is definitely what you're up against. At least for part of it.
I mean, they're already being called savages. They might as well lean into the barbarian.
There may, in fact, be a reason why Greece didn't become a powerhouse again at any point.
Yeah, like the 2 powerhouses of the current day, Rome and Greece. Or no, not Rome, Greece. Rome and Persia.
Yeah. Well, and I think Persia had distance fighting on their side. Because I think they had
Well, at least the Achaemenids, they had the Immortals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Persians created an empire that eventually kind of becomes the Ottoman that lasts. It's like the longest lasting empire ever, isn't it?
It lasted into at least World War One, if not World War II.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it died with World War One, but
Yeah.
so the Ottoman Empire,
like 1,500-year empire or something stupid like that.
well, if you want a the longest lasting empire, then that would be the Byzantines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they survived for over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But I know the Ottoman Empire, which evolved out of the Persian, I believe, will chunk.
Pretty sure Ottoman had over pretty
No,
close to 1,000 years, if
they're
not more.
Anatolian.
Okay.
They started in Anatolia. And then just
The Persian or the Ottoman?
The Ottoman Empire lasted 725 years.
Not the longest, but still quite a long time.
I mean, to be fair, the dinosaurs ruled for 171, so I think they win.
I'm pretty sure you're correct in that, but I don't think we can just
Did
calm
dinosaurs-
it down either. So
Dinosaurs have empires and political systems?
We don't know.
You know what? If we're gonna pull up dinosaurs, then I'm gonna call up cyanobacteria.
No, they're not. They're not an empire because they created oxygen so that other living things could exist. They're gods.
Yeah, it's like pulling a gun out in rock paper scissors. I win.
Like, I made the oxygen, I can take it away. Get along.
I mean, they also killed a bunch of things.
Yeah. Therefore, they have power over life and death. Gods. Microscopic gods. Anyway.
Yeah, the Byzantines
Okay.
fell to the Ottomans.
Yep.
that makes sense. Right, because
It's
they're the
very
ones that
interesting
sacked
premise.
Constantinople.
Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Constantinople, no, Istanbul.
Apparently that place is a really
Thank
good
you.
place to have long-lasting empires for some reason.
Well, Constantinople was one of the easily defended cities because of its terrain,
And
and the walls were renowned. Yeah, the terrain plus the walls is what made it so hard to conquer for so long.
Like the Ottomans and the Byzantines are almost in the exact same spot.
Mhm.
And the two of them combined owned the same place for almost 2,000 years. Like 1,600 years or something like that.
yeah. I mean, because technically, Byzantines never called themselves Byzantines. They called themselves Romans.
Mhm. The Western Romans called them Byzantines to basically denounce them as being real Romans because when the empire split, they were fighting all the time.
Yep.
And so they called them Byzantines to make them seem less than the actual true Romans.
You know,
Whereas
kind of like
Byzantines felt themselves Roman.
kind of like when Britain was like, "You damn Yankees," and we were like, "Hell yeah!" And they're like, "No, that was an insult. What are you doing?"
Are you sure about that? Sounds pretty cool.
Except that in this case, the Byzantines did not take it. They didn't
No.
take the insult and own it like we did.
Everyone just kind of accepted it.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
I suppose I have two more realistic checks I could make. One with the Persians and another with the benefit of the future Tong hindsight, the Byzantines.
Mhm.
Just a thought. Are you gonna look up the fighting style of the people you're fighting?
That would be a good thing to look up.
Mhm.
And actually, yeah, let's make this.
No.
Let's make this like 4 more checks because I got the 2 more professional options, and then know your enemy and know yourself.
No. You need to roll wisdom because the DM had to tell you that. So does your character think of it?
I mean, that would be better for Rada. Alright, rolling for Persia.
Okay.
No. That was a natural 3.
You need a dice fail, Arthur.
Yeah.
Yep. See, that was an 8. Well, a natural 8, so that was for the Byzantines.
Yeah. So with the Persians, you couldn't find anything in a language you speak, so you were just kind of like,
Which is weird because she speaks Persian.
It seems to be like super ancient and probably not written by Persians. It looks like it was written by people who maybe just saw it. Maybe it's Hebrew.
It would make sense for the Hebrews. Alright, so
Mhm.
Rada Dice going to Dice Jail.
As for the Byzantine,
Alright, so it was a
you're not
natural.
finding,
It
I
was
was saying you're not going to find much on the Byzantine, because currently the Library of Alexandria is more of a Western Roman Empire thing, and they've cut them off. So, and they were like, we don't want anybody to know about this side. This side sucks.
Alright. Saxons. That. Okay. So that was a natural 18.
Nice. Okay. So, these guys fight with a crap load of weapons. They don't have the tall tower shields, but they still do the overlapping shield wall. They usually carry 3 to 4 javelins that they throw from about 30 to 40 paces. And each of them carries at least one spear that they specifically use to attack the head and neck of their enemies. They had a two-handed axe that's a particular favorite of those who are protecting the leaders. There will be at least one person in the group who has a bow. And basically, oh, and then they'll have a short sword that's called a sax. S-E-A-X. Now, essentially, the way that their shield wall would work, they have their preliminaries, where the lines are drawn up and leaders make pre-battle inspirational speeches. They advance to close quarters, a battle cry would be raised, and one or both shield walls would advance. They exchange missiles, both sides shoot arrows and throw javelins, axes, and rocks to break the enemy's resolve. So they like to make lots of noise and throw things to try and get you to freak out. And then they'll basically shield bash as a group, trying to break the enemy line. And if one side were, if the other side is to give way, they would pursue and kill anyone they could catch.
So is this ringing any bells for the one time that we did fight the Saxons?
Yes.
Well, at least fought the Saxons in open combat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think lighting their camp on fire counted.
No. You also do know that sometimes they will use horses. And you recall seeing a few on horses. Not many, but a few.
let's see. How do the Celts fight? Alright, that was cocked. Alright, so a natural 8.
Natural 8. So you get distracted for a moment as you're trying to find this because you find this writing about a group of people called the Woads, who apparently go into battle naked but covered in blue paint and then just run screaming with their weapons in hand at whoever is there, hoping to just terrify them into leaving, which apparently worked on the Romans a few times. I don't know if they actually count as Celts, though. Somehow, you probably very much doubt that Uther or Aurelius are willing to run into battle naked, screaming. But they're also men. Men do weird things sometimes, so.
I'm sure Ernest would like to do that.
I would not be surprised if at any point in the training and growing up with those guys, he has done that just to see what they would do.
It did succeed on Uther at one point.
He's just like, I'm done. This is. I'm out. Peace.
It only worked once, but it worked very well.
Alright, I think she's got some good information about the enemy, and she's going to let the leaders handle strategy at this point.
Yeah.
The actual people in charge. Yeah, she can just take what she learned from her own training and to train the peasants.
Fair enough. All right. Anything else you'd like to do?
Other than check up on the rest of the party, not really.
Yeah. Well, you can certainly either go to the meeting spot that you guys had discussed or attempt to go find someone.
It's not time to meet up yet. I don't think anyone's gone to the meeting place yet. So
Fair enough.
she'll at least look for the people that are easy to notice. She's not necessarily going to go looking for Tooth, because that guy just disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You did leave most of them on the same floor when you left, so there is that.
Yeah, let's see. Brina's probably the easiest person to find.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a survival and see if you get back to where she was. Where you dropped her off.
Ah, survival, something Rod is actually good at. Let's see.
You thinking rolling poorly? Something your dice are good.
He put them in dice jail.
Well,
Again.
Pretty sure that what I got is a 20. Unnatural.
You were able to make it back up to where Brina was when you saw her, all of her books have been cleaned up.
That was either courteous of her or someone had to do
Very
it for her.
attentive of the librarian.
Yeah.
One of the-
Um,
Let's see. So Brina's not there. And so she'll pull out the map, start looking at like what's where.
hmm
And being Greek, she probably understands like what each of the different things are related to.
Yep.
Knowing she's a bard, and she's going to go up to where all the songs are.
Okay. Won't take you terribly long to get there. You've got 4 legs, so you know you can take the stairs a lot faster than all your 2-legged compatriots.
Well, she also has
Sorry,
a base
damn.
movement. She also has a base movement of 50 feet.
Yeah. When you get up there, you do find Brina with a pile of scrolls. Very deeply ingrained in what she is looking at.
Alright.
Moment.
And she will go over and talk with her, which I think will end my bit until Brina's had her bit.
I
Okay.
guarantee you, if I'm that deeply ingrained in scrolls, I may or may not recognize that you're talking to me.
Make a perception check.
With
No,
the
this is all about passive perception at this point. What's your passive perception again?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, good. My phone's turned.
It's like 14 or something.
My passive perception is an 11.
Oh.
Yeah,
No,
no.
she's like, nah, I'm having a good time. Just for funsies. Rhoda, go ahead and roll me a d6. If you get a 6, roll again.
One.
You kind of glance over her shoulder as she's reading because she's clearly not paying attention to you. And you think that the scroll she's looking at says Magnus.
Would have been way too funny if it was the one that said Erden.
It would have been.
What would that have been, like 4 or 5?
5, yeah. So, yeah.
Again, I think that's where my roleplay ends because
Yeah,
Yep.
because we're reading on mine.
Marco's over there stretching like, all right, let's do this.
No, I've been sitting like in a chair, like with your arms just on the handlebars for too
Right.
long. It's like, I need to stretch out so I can start writing again.
All right, Erden. What are we doing?
I imagine that with
We
Erden
left
and the
off with-
person he,
Good golem.
I imagine that Erden and the golem are probably like eventually just gonna start concluding with, okay, I imagine the only way to figure this out is to figure out why people need air at all.
Yes. How do we figure that out?
I don't know. Is there a difference between breathing in and breathing out? I don't know.
I don't breathe. I don't know. You tell me. Breathe in and then breathe out. Tell me, is there a difference?
There is.
Breathe in, breathe out, hold it.
I mean, I know I get dizzy if I stop breathing, or if I hold it for a while, but
Have you tried breathing different things?
yes, I have.
And?
Campfires are very unbreathable.
Okay, so don't breathe in smoke. Hmm.
Water is also unbreathable.
Mhm.
It's in smoke. Figure that out. Hmm.
Charcoal.
Most intriguing things to think about.
What was your name again?
Yay! Thank you, Airden.
You're
Like,
welcome.
like somewhere in the library, Brina's just like, oh, that's the name. Yay. Okay.
I thought I wrote it down. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, it's Aal, which is
Well, Al, in your studies of the heart and lungs, I challenge you to figure out why people need to breathe. Why anything needs to breathe. There are many different things we can't breathe, except for normal air.
which constitutes normal air.
A healthy, what you would normally find in a healthy breeze, but
No, but what is it made of?
campfires.
Air is air is air. There's different air. I need an air druid.
They're surprisingly hard to come by.
Like, druids in general are hard to come by. I don't know a single one.
I know a few, but it's kind of difficult to get in between the human and other world.
But you know druids.
Yes.
Oh. Could you introduce me to the druid?
Quite possibly, yes.
Ah, how long are you staying?
I haven't a clue. I have no idea if the more responsible of us have found a place to sleep or if we're about to find the boat the moment we're done here.
I see. I see. Oh, this is a conundrum. Because the semester is not over. I can't just leave. But this could be good for the research for the project. I may be able to get permission to leave to do the studies as like a study abroad.
How long
Picking up another
is
free
left
member?
in your
NPC.
semester?
Chris. Not a Tom.
We just did our midterms.
How well? I'd like to say that it's a universal thing, but it depends on the department. We all just kind of run on our own things. But I am not a beginner. I'm getting an advanced degree.
Cool.
Her grad student.
Yes, he is a grad
A
student.
very untrusted grad student, but a grad student.
I mean, I'm sure we've all met one at some point. I know I have.
Clearly didn't speak to enough grad students.
What, grad students didn't teach all of your math classes? That's all I ever got. I never got a real professor.
Surprisingly, I avoided most of the grad students teaching classes, although it did happen once or twice. But I would argue that grad students teaching classes means that they were trusted, even if they shouldn't have been.
The TA I had in my math class was a better math teacher than the math teacher I had in college.
That's fair. Like, I did prefer having the meet one math teacher once, and he basically, you're a dick. Okay. And then I took the same class from a grad student and got a B plus. So I was like, obviously I'm not an idiot. You just can't teach.
That sounds extremely familiar because my math teacher, my freshman year of college, I couldn't learn from her. Everybody else in the class really struggled to learn from her. The TAs could understand we got the concept of what we were being taught, but we just couldn't do it the way she wanted us to. So they would give us the benefit of the doubt as they were doing grading. And then she would go back and take away all the extra stuff that they'd given us. And so it's like, okay, then why do you even have TAs? But she had tenure, so she was there.
I hate the tenure.
And her, I don't know why this comes to mind, but her hair looked like a helmet. She had a helmet hair.
All I know is that the TA or the grad student I got for that class, he was the one who wrote the textbook, the teacher, the actual professor, or whatever, and the the grad student was like, I don't like this book, we're not using it, and just taught it away because the book was awful.
That math class is where I met Brad.
Nice.
Because Brad and our friend TJ, those were the best things that came out of that class because I got an A in that class. That grade is entirely hollow. I learned nothing at all. Because I had everything except my book the next semester, and my friend Shannon had the same teacher. I couldn't help her with a single thing because I learned nothing.
Yeah.
I don't consider it an intrinsically good or bad thing, but the statistics department at MSU was decidedly frugal. Most of the books were written by the professors, and we definitely mostly used R, which is open source free software.
We used R a lot. But that was because one of my professors was he was a biologist who just absolutely loves statistics, and so we did a lot of statistical work. That would be Chris Oregon.
I mean, I knew it was different between engineering, math, and everyone else, but I didn't know it was this different. Like, I never had a TA teach, and every book was off the shelf, and the professors were at least a little helpful.
What is Marco studying?
Electrical engineering.
Okay.
Oh. So anyway, to figure out how do I contact you?
I don't know, actually. I've heard of the sending spell for people who aren't wind druids, but not entirely sure of other means of communication. Oh wait, unless like the ley line mailing system technically works.
Oh yes, there's that.
Can somebody give us sending stones at some point?
No.
Wait, I
That's
just had a thought.
in Arthur's campaign.
Aha. I was like, that doesn't sound right for this campaign, but I feel like it was this group of people.
This group of people, yes. Wrong campaign.
The
Forgive me,
physician's
this is-
still missing.
Sorry. I'm absent.
Ale, forgive me if this is rude, but do you technically count as alive, or do you count more as an object?
I'm a living object.
But like we're about to start an existential crisis in a golem.
Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. It is a construct. So, I guess technically an object.
Unless it's a living construct. Which I think is usually saved for Warforged and Shard Mines.
Mm-hmm.
Not that 5th edition has Shard Mines, but my 4th edition bleeding through.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise your sister would demand the blood of her enemies from you?
To be fair, that's my fault in the first place. I really think Shard Mines are cool. That's why they get to stick around. They're an important part of the lore of my world.
My sister-in-law's character in our family campaign is a shard mine.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're asking for purposes of sending, but that just stipulates a creature. And up to an intelligence of, well, down to an intelligence of 1.
I mean, considering that he's studying the circulatory system, respiratory system, I think it's safe to say that he can handle a sending spell.
Intelligence may be a little higher than 1.
Yeah.
Considering I think there's an old joke about language not being possible below 3. Or even at 3.
Something like that.
Well, it's impossible to get a score lower than 3.
Uh-huh.
At least with character things. Yeah, like the spell enables creatures with an intelligence of at least 1 to understand the meaning of your message.
I'm pretty sure there's some Eldritch Abominations that can lower your intelligence score and kill you when it hits 0.
Yeah, so basically, you just need to be alive. Or at least
Mostly functioning.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be speaking with
fog a
bacteria,
mirror?
but hypothetically,
Actually, no.
could.
No, you can't.
Yeah, thank you for understanding. Dominic's over here is like, can you fog a mirror? Wait, no, he can't. AL can't.
Like, in order to have, like, conscious thought, because thought is usually, you know, associated with intelligence, you have to have a brain. Don't have one of...
a brain?
I mean, the golem was magically created with the capability of behaving like a humanoid. So while he may not have a literal brain, he's got like a magic one.
His brain is the magic coursing through, well, not
Yeah.
his veins, but
Through his grains.
Thought he wasn't attending these sessions.
Does that mean technically his brain is abnormal?
Yep.
I mean, I guess
Gave
what
him
we
an
could do
abnormal
is we
brain.
could invite him, like, to meet us at a rendezvous and see if either of the clerics are capable of using sending. Or we go look for the person that's on sabbatical. Because we know she'll be able to do it.
Hmm.
Or, Erden's favorite, just, godly intervention.
Aaron's about to, and it's gonna continue. It took a bit of divine intervention to get here, so either it's gonna take another for you to come to me, or I don't know, since you might count as an object, you might be able to send yourself to me?
Okay. Well, I guess I know people who can use magic. I can't. Oh,
Aya keeps on her current path. She might be able to make him feel like he can, though.
huh? Well, it depends what kind of mud he's made out of.
Yeah.
Sorry, the whole sending yourself. All it makes me think of is how historically people would send their children through the mail.
I mean, you have mail order brides.
I put myself in a box, and I'm gonna put that box into another box, and then I'm gonna mail that box to myself.
And I'll smash it with a hammer. Yes, mail order brides, Arthur, but it's not.
I know it's not like through the mail, technically, but it's in the name.
What I'm talking about is people legitimately
Yes,
sending their children through the mail.
I'm well aware.
Back when mail was typically delivered by train.
And also delivered by a person. I mean, like, obviously the mail is still delivered by a person, but people that were
Before they
hands-on.
machines to scan that there were things alive in there.
Actually,
This box is really heavy.
You telling me that people can't learn what the inside of a cargo plane looks like today just by sending themselves in the mail? Priority.
Actually, there are people that mail pets.
Yes.
It's true.
But not people.
Don't worry, Albus. I would never mail you. That'd be terrible.
Why do I have a feeling that we've just given cause for Albus to have like nightmares? Like, what do you mean mail me?
I can think of.
I mean, kind of what I was thinking when I said that was certain creatures that certain members of this group are scared of.
Mm-hmm.
Certain.
You're better as freak now be a palm spider in the mail to me.
Oh.
That's as good as a terrorist bomb.
That is a terrorist bomb.
Doesn't even matter who you are. Nobody wants a spider in the mail.
Well, unless you order one.
I mean, sometimes banana spiders accidentally end up going through the mail.
That's how I got answered for a little while. It accidentally came in on an order all the way from Hawaii, and it was February, and I was like, poor baby. But he was a baby. He was only like, he's big, and he didn't live very long, but I tried. Problem is I couldn't find any fruit flies. I was like, how am I supposed to feed you? You're tiny. I had to walk home with him, like, in my coat pocket. Like, he was inside my coat, as close to my skin as I could get him, so that he could stay warm all the way from Smith's to my apartment, because it's Bozeman in February, and I was like, and he's a little Hawaiian gecko.
Oh, a gecko.
Yeah.
I hadn't what it was that you were talking about. So I was very, very terrified for a minute that you were actually talking about a spider.
No,
I'm very
no,
glad
no.
we figured it back out.
No, it was definitely a lizard. It's a little lizard. Okay.
Don't show me pictures of what they look like.
What is your name again?
Reminds me of the gecko.
Ferdinand. I know people. I will try and get in touch before you leave. Because this is a good opportunity. I need to know why people breathe. I'll be back. And he starts packing up his stuff and like shoving it into a bag and like rushing out of the room.
Yeah, just as he goes, Ern will just say, "I'll be at the first floor fountain in a few hours. That's a meetup spot for others, so I know I'll be."
Excellent. I must hurry. And you hear very heavy thump, 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 thump footsteps as he takes off.
Ern will actually look over at the CPR dummy and just like, you know what? I meet the craziest of people whenever I go adventuring.
All you get back is it going as it starts to reinflate itself.
The danger is gone. It can finally repair itself.
Or I'll like just pat it on the shoulder, like, keep it up. And I'll find try and find some new medical journals or something.
There's lots of medical journals. Are there certain things you're looking for?
Alright. Ern's gonna look more into first aid and surgery primarily, but since he already knows at least a little bit about that, he's more trying to figure out if people have discovered things that he even doesn't know about. Like, are there random ailments that just have been discovered and also been solved?
Oh. Let's see.
I know I've studied the human body, but is there a surprise organ in centaurs that I have to be worrying about? Or Amazons or Pterosaurs? I don't know.
Hune.
Don't be a take your own. Take it.
Okay.
But yes, technically meant who.
I see we're leaving leprechauns out.
Ern is under the impression that Tooth can't get killed, no
Oh.
matter what people try and throw at him.
He
His
did kind of
experiences with alcohol poisoning or anything to go by.
Oh, Ern knows alcohol poisoning. That's
Being
easy.
No. Investigate.
Investigate. 13.
13.
Yeah, it's 13.
So, primarily what you'll find are a lot of things that you're pretty familiar with already. That Rome really came up with organized healthcare, primarily to treat soldiers, and that one of the ways they did this is that they had public health and sanitation. So you know that all of their aqueducts and things helped in making things better. Draining wetlands seemed to reduce the spread of certain kinds of diseases. I mean, they live a whole 35 years.
Yeah, I guess in this time Ern's halfway through his lifespan or something.
Nah.
The
Over
fact that
halfway.
Amber is alive at all is a miracle.
Pretty much.
Nah, you should be going through your midlife crisis soon.
Don't encourage that. It's not when we have Tooth in this party. Can you imagine a midlife crisis with Tooth on board?
Okay.
It
You
looks
know
a
that
lot like how we got here.
now the primary thing that people do is pray for divine intervention when it comes to treating illness. That herbal remedies are provided by like spiritual healers. Part of it is that science has been prohibited. We're not using medicine. One of the things you do find that you did people used to, you find this crazy dude named Aristotle. And apparently, he did actually cut things open and look at them on the inside because he has diagrams all over them. Mostly animals. But he seems to think that diet and hygiene are the best ways to prevent disease and illness.
Crazy thought.
It's really not that far off.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. Keeping things clean makes you healthy.
And eating well?
I want to live off of Reese's peanut butter cups, okay? I'll be fine.
I mean, don't we all?
Not people that are allergic to peanut butter.
I will die happy.
Yeah.
But you're not allergic to peanut butter.
No, I'm not. But if I were, no. No, if I were, I would just die happy. You're not going to stop me from eating peanut butter.
The girl I went to elementary school with, her mom was allergic to chocolate and still ate it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she
My
just-
dad's allergic to melons. And he'll be like scratching his throat as he's like downing, half a watermelon. He's like, meh, it's fine. I'll live. It's like, Dad, the allergy you have literally closes your throat, your airway. He's like, I took like 8 Benadryl. I'll be fine.
The melon's not worth it.
You know your limits.
Humans.
That's what you get with your 13.
As now I think about it, I'll look up specific species dimorphism that might show up with other magical creatures then.
Oh, comparative anatomy?
I just graduated and finished my last classes last week. I don't want to hear more of this.
Comparative anatomy is so much fun. Give me another investigate.
Yeah, it turns out centaurs have 2 different digestive tracts, one for human and one for horse.
We already established they have one stomach.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens to have 2 chambers.
16.
16. Ooh. You can find all kinds of anatomy books. A lot of them seem to be written by this Aristotle guy. Which is interesting because it sounded like he was human, but apparently he did a little bit with some magical animal anatomy too. Yeah.
Did he know, or did he just find something?
Oh, he definitely just stumbled on it. He had no idea what was going on. But think about it, he was also ancient Greek. So, if he stumbles upon a centaur, he believed they were real already. So, I mean...
For him, it wasn't a magical being. It was just normal.
Well, also,
yeah.
It's only been like a decade or 2 since at least one famous person that worked at the library was martyred in Alexandria, so that it was a recent transfer, or at least.
Which one was that one?
It was a woman. I forgot what her name was.
It sounds easily Googleable.
It does.
About I
Uh,
think. Starts with a P, right?
Maybe?
Pythia?
Hmm?
Is it Pythia?
Name
That,
sounds.
that doesn't sound right, though.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
might have gotten the exact name wrong, but it's something along those lines. She was a mathematician, right? And they
yeah,
killed her.
but she was a high priestess at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi.
Okay.
I know there was a movie made about her. Because there's at least one
Hypatia of
YouTube.
Alexandria?
Hypatia. Yes, Hypatia.
Oh yeah. That name sounds familiar too.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought the name was started with a P, but I think that's who I was thinking of. I just got the name wrong.
Yeah, died 4/15.
Yeah, wow, that was really recent.
So, what's probably happened was that the Fae realized that humans are getting pretty bad. We're going to start a gradual transition from the human world to the other world.
Yep.
And when we've got all the important stuff, we'll just accidentally make it look like arson.
I do not want. I do not want to be on the fly on the wall to hear that committee decision. Ah, yes, arson was our most reasonable choice.
Well, to be fair, the library apparently got destroyed like 4 times. So the
Well,
most recent one, by your reckoning, was 391. Apparently, this library just struggles to be. Okay,
Why do I
anyway.
want to ask if the doctors a reason for one of them?
There's been too many D&D parties that have gone through here.
He managed to
They
sink.
are a risk to the library.
Yeah, he sunk Atlantis 3 times. Did he do anything to the Library of Alexandria?
Not in canon that I'm aware of, but you know.
Although there is a much greater library further in the future that did something very similar that he is quite fond of.
Donna Noble has left the library. Donna Noble has been saved. Okay, back to comparative anatomy of centaurs.
So are there specific ones that you're looking for? Or are you gonna because like you can get them by like basically where they're indigenous to.
Vern's gonna first start with the party and then work his way out into beings he's seen. So like
Okay.
satyrs or Grim or changeling, stuff like that.
Okay. So overall, as you're looking through these, it seems that for the most part, everybody has the same sort of skeletal structure. Aside from Rada, who's clearly got an extra set of legs and like a weird joint in her spine that allows her to be both upright and like horizontal. And seems to have like essentially she's got 6 limbs, so she's got 3 girdles for her limbs to be coming out of, which are a little weird, but that's how they seem to be built. It looks like two of the girls are fairly similar, as though she's got like 6 arms. Or 6 arms, 4 arms and 2 legs.
Ah, so the front legs do count as Manus.
Yes. When you start getting into the muscular structure, there's a lot of similarities. Leprechauns seem to have extra stretchy ligaments. Like, they're extra bendy. Kind of like cats.
Are you calling Albus a leprechaun?
Are you a leprechaun, Albus? You are.
I'm over here and I'm just like, that sounds painful. I speak from experience.
They seem to have all the organs, like internal organs seem to be the same. There's brain, lungs, heart, liver, stomach. Rada seems to have a really long stomach for her species. And then like an extra long winding gut, like intestines. Like a lot of intestines. Compared to everybody else. And her heart seems to be larger. Like I said, her heart is really big, probably because they have to pump blood through a much bigger body.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Would it be in the horse part of her or the human part of her?
The heart it's in the human part of her.
Okay.
So it's like everything's kind of been extended like a snake. As weird as that sounds like.
No, it makes sense though.
Yeah.
Probably also good sized lungs.
Oh yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
looking at several hanging ribs. It's like, wow, this undulates. That's really weird.
I now started to wonder if the human or the horse part would have the lungs, considering you probably want the really large lungs.
Well, if you extend it out like a snake, I have a feeling they can just have really long lungs, like going from the human part into the horse part.
That might not be the most efficient way to do the air, though.
True.
Yeah, but if you put it any lower, it then you have to use even more energy to then make sure the air gets in and then back out. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
There you go.
I was about to suggest 2 sets of lungs, but then I realized that that's not very useful without 2 hearts.
Yeah.
Frankly, it would be better if
I mean,
we
technically
used,
this one's a male
basic-
diagram, but you know. That's kind of what you got there.
Something like this.
People think too hard about things.
It's true.
But the location of the diaphragm in that is very interesting to me because it's almost like right at the joining line is where the diaphragm sits.
Yeah. Imagine because of how it would have to be, it would like not only push on the lungs but also like push the stomach. So it's like womp. Every time she breathes. She really can't overeat. It would be a very big issue.
Makes me wonder if centaurs are subject to colic.
I know, but with such a large stomach and intestine and everything, she's probably likely to be able to digest things that other people can't.
Mhm.
All of those plant materials that normally we can't absorb very much nutrients from, she can.
Mhm.
She can graze.
They'll probably be very uncomfortable with how the spine is arranged, but yeah, possible.
Sorry, I'm just now imagining the centaur as a salad bar.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of other things. You'll notice on things like leprechauns, they have a little bit more cartilage on their ears, so they get the like pointy ears. Um, and honestly, other than that, y'all be pretty darn similar.
Ern is celebrating this. It's like, fine, yay, there's not going to be a lot of surprises.
Yeah,
By the way, it's getting very late.
it
Just as
is.
a heads up.
Yeah, I do need to get to bed. I just wanted to make sure we got through at least a few things for everyone.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we'll actually call it there because there's not going to be too much to, not a ton to talk on the anatomy. That open. So, no game next Wednesday.
That's a given.
Yes. If you want to do another day of the week, that's fine. I don't work at all, so
Yeah.
I got all of next week off.
I graduated last week.
Yay!
Yay!
And I've got everything from the 24th to New Year's inclusive off as well, so
Nice.
we can have a special extra long D&D session if we want to.
play D&D into the new year. That's a good way to bring
I
it
thought
up.
about that. That could be fun. I think Egan did do that one.
From 12 to 12,
Oh boy.
the D&D marathon.
Normally I'd be like, yeah, let's do it, but my dance club usually does a New Year's Eve dance.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, I like dancing when I get the opportunity, so you know.
Take that out.
Yeah. And I mean, New Year's Day is on Wednesday, so you know, still ringing the new year because it's still only the first day. And I'll only be working one job that week. So that could be a total normal thing. It's just next week that will be abnormal. So I will leave it up to you guys whether you want to try for a different day. Whether that be like Thursday or Friday.
That seems bad.
Yeah, those
I
are
will
definitely
choose. Huh?
either Thursday or Friday would definitely be best.
Yeah. So uh just I guess put your preference in the general chat and whatever comes up the